Good morning, children. How are you all? Hope you all are fine. Welcome you all for the third video of our Unit 4, that is the story of Vikat. In the last class, we have already started the lesson, the explanation of it, and now we shall continue the lesson of story of Ikat. So you have seen that the Janki teacher, she explains the students about the Ikat fabrics. Okay. So now we shall continue the lesson. She continued. So it is called Chitki in Telugu, Patola in Gujarati, and simply Ikat in Oriya. So then she named that the Ikat, it is called in Oriya, and in Gujarati they call it as Patola, and Telugu we call it as Chitki. Then children's attention was divided between her words and the fabrics as she opened a silk patola sari from Patan, Gujarat. She opened one sari and she showed that how beautiful it was. She showed one patola sari from Patan, Gujarat. It had a red design on a black background with rows of flowers in the border. So it had a beautiful border with flowers and the red design and the black background. It was simply very beautiful. The simple leaf design repeated across the body and the flowers in the border created a mesmerizing effect. Mesmerizing means very attractive. Something which is very attractive and holding interest in it, then how do you feel? You say it is mesmerizing. So the sari which the teacher showed, it was very, very attractive. The teacher said, "Are you thinking about the word ikat or tie and dye? While you are looking at the fabrics, what can be the origin of this word?" No one answered, but looked expectantly as she continued. So when the teacher asked, "See, now you are going to know about the word ikat," because I said this is ikat, the story of ikat I am saying. So ikat is also, then how these colors have come on this. So you must be thinking how they have, these colors have come about the tying and dyeing and all that. So let us, from where this word has come up. So all these questions might be lingering in your mind. So they were asked, no one could answer when she asked about it. Then expectantly means they were hopeful of something that the teacher will be answering about this question. When the teacher asked, they could not answer, so they were expecting the answer from the teacher. They were hoping something, some answer from the teacher. So in hand weaving, we have threads stretched lengthwise called warp, and the threads intersecting them widthwise called weft. Okay, so here then she continued saying that in handlooms and all, when we weave in the hand weaving, what we do, the threads first of all, we lengthwise we keep it, and those are called as warp. Okay, when we keep it lengthwise, that is horizontally, it is called warp, and when we keep it as vertically, that is widthwise, it is weft. Imagine the graph sheet, that x-axis and y-axis, and you know, no, x-axis and y-axis in maths. So the x-axis and y-axis, how they intersect, okay, to from the crisscross, how they crisscross. Crisscross means when they intersect, a pattern of intersection, okay. And motifs means a decorative designs. So here, like this, the warp and the weft, both of them, they intersect to form beautiful decorative designs. Okay, and then Ahmed was excited. "Teacher, warp is stretched along y-axis and weft along x-axis." And now the class completely understood. The class was thrilled as a new understanding came. Now here you can just think. Now every time we are saying, actually the class was thrilled. Here class means who? It is not the classroom. Okay. So here the students are being compared. Directly it is being told as class. So class will say only 8th class or something, not to the students, isn't it? When we are, the students itself are compared with the class. We say the class was thrilled. So the class cannot be thrilled. Class, the students of the class are thrilled, isn't it? So here directly when we are saying class, comparing to the students, then what is the figure of speech used here, children? It is metaphor. Okay. So here many places like that, the class, instead of the students, it is mentioned as class. So understood? So this is one figure of speech. The class was thrilled as a new understanding came. Understood? Now, then the teacher continued. Janki said, in ikat, the threads are carefully sorted, warped and weft, divided into bundles, then tied it with locally available waterproof materials. So they take the waterproof materials. First, they separate the threads of the warp and the weft, and then they tie it up to the waterproof materials like plastic sheets, rubber strips from cars and bicycle tires. Then they drop it into the color, and then once you untie the knots, then they tie the knots wherever the color is not required, and when afterwards when they untie the knots, there the white threads and the colors will be at proper intervals. Then how they have to see the distance where they have to tie the knots. So Ravi asked, teacher, how do they know where to tie the knots? Then the ties indicate the design. So according to the design, they tie the knots, and then they get the design or a motif and they tie. So according to that, they tie the knots. Then Ravi looked puzzled. He said, it is not very simple. So what these people are doing, how they are weaving it and tying knots, separating the warp and the weft, the threads first, then they tie the knots according to the design. Everything is very complicated. It's not so easy. Then the teacher said, yes, Ravi, you're absolutely right. The teacher said, it's not easy. First you count the threads, then they'll count the threads, then measure the distance, then calculate when to repeat the pattern, and then only you can tie the knots. So teacher, it seems like difficult maths. Ramya said, it's just like maths. Maths is a very difficult subject. You all know, no? You need to remember all the formulas, how to solve this. So all this, just like it was very complicated, just like maths. And they thought that they are not formally educated. They are not educated people and all, because they're staying in villages. They're not educated as like us. But how are they able to do it? But they will do all these complex calculations on their fingertips. They draw the patterns on the graphs and then copy them on the threads. Like that, they do everything with the calculations on their fingertips. Okay? And then Janki teacher said that just close your eyes and imagine threads stretched out with long dots of different colors shining, and I have seen such a sight in villages of Nalgonda. Someone said. Then someone just everybody closed their eyes and started imagining how the people, the hand weavers, will be just putting up the designs on the threads. And then someone said, yes, I have seen such a sight in the villages, how they'll be weaving. So teacher, the dots look like raindrops. And what do you call it, the raindrops in Telugu? Chukka. So they'll be looking it as like chukka. And what is that? And how that is how the name has come for that as Chutki Rumal. So the teacher brought some rumals, isn't it? So on that rumal also they had a design which is called as Chitki Rumal. It is called as Chitki Rumal, and this is the favorite headgear of fisherman. And what is the headgear? Headgear means what? Headgear means it is a piece of cloth that is worn around the head. So usually who wears it? The fishermen or the laborers. Have you seen the laborers? They put up the towel on the head, and whenever they work, and they will use the towel for just wiping wiping their hands or cleaning the sweat. So they put up a turban like on the head. So usually this chitki rumals are used by the fishermen and the other laborers. Okay. So it was also the towel on the shoulders for traders in Gujarati. And Gujarat people, they use as towels on the shoulders. So these are all used. The chitki rumal is used by this fishermen, laborers, and even some of the traders in Gujarat. So like this, they tie the knots and then they color it, so that the color doesn't form wherever they have tied it. The color doesn't go over there and it remains as white, and the design comes out like this. Then she suddenly thought of another explanation. She asked children, when you have to measure a small quantity of a material, you use a specific word in Telugu. So in Telugu, suppose you want to put up a very small quantity, what do you say it in Telugu? So everyone, Ramya answered that it is chittikadu. చిటికెడు. చిటికెడు మీన్స్ వెరీ స్మాల్ క్వాంటిటీ. ఇంత చిటికెడు తీసుకుని చిటికెడు ఇలా వేస్తే చిటికెడు మీన్స్ వెరీ స్మాల్ quantity. So this comprehension was written large on every child's face. Oh, chitikedu means very small. Then she explained, chitiki means small and small dots of colors which are characteristics of Ikkat. They all chorused. They all shouted all together. Chorus means shouted all together. Then the class was jubilant. Again, the class was jubilant. It is a metaphor here. Jubilant means to very happy. They were very happy because it was very interesting. The class was going on, and jubilant, it is an adjective. And what is a noun form of jubilant? Jubiliance. Jubilanca. Okay, jubiliance. Now they were able to come with an original explanation of historical phrase. Now when trade was vigorous with other nations in South East Asia, tie and dye or chitki as lengths of fabric was a favorite export item both in silk and cotton, the teacher said. So vigorous means when it was very famous and very active at those times in Southeast Asia, this fabric, and it has been this or chitki or lengths of fabrics was a favorite export item. So everyone, it has been a very export item. India used to export these items to everyone, and it was very famous in those days. So there are other interesting stories of Ikkat. Different regions fight about its origin. Did it travel from Gujarat to south or vice versa? Did it first originate in the coastal belt of Andhra Pradesh and travel to Nalgonda? So there is no systematic historical documentation to resolve this dispute. Now the teacher started telling that how there is no like particular thing that where this Ikkat has been it has started. So till now the disputes are going on about where it has been started, whether it has started in Nalgonda in Andhra Pradesh or whether it started in Gujarat. So there is fully still it has to be solved. This dispute has to be solved. Now for Raksha Bandhan, the tying of knot was done by yellow and red Ikkat dyed threads. So in our tradition, tying the knot is sacred, but maybe this has a relation to tying and dyeing process. So you find in Raksha Bandhan, it is a sacred thing that we had tied the knots to the it is our tradition to tie the threads. Now these threads are also made of Ikkat. The red and yellow threads are used for tying the knots in Raksha Bandhan. And many parts of Gujarat, Maharashtra and Deccan designs in Ikkat were very much influenced by Muslim culture. Even the Muslims were influenced by this Ikkat designs. And now the class was over because so seriously madam was teaching, and the teacher created such an interesting class, and the class was completely involved in it. And the bell was ringing, but the class was lost in a period where vibrant colors and compelling stories were woven into beautiful fabrics. So seeing those fabrics what madam had brought, all those, the class was lost. The students were lost in the period. They could not even hear the bell, that how the period was completed. And the compelling stories. So compelling means very interesting stories. So they could know about the beautiful fabric. So this is about the story of Ikkat. So have you understood, children? Which is written by Dr. B. Shyamsundari. So children, today your assignment is to write these meanings one time and learn them thoroughly. So watch the videos of the lesson, the story of Ikkat, all the 3 videos, and understand the lesson properly and write these meanings one time. In the next class, we shall see the textbook exercises of this lesson. Till then, stay tuned. Bye.